Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects with easy to follow guides from start to finish. So, I think you remember it, we are in June, and it's one of the most exciting times of the year, so to speak. It is Stamptacular. So I decided today I was going to take a piece of artwork that's part of like the advertising for Stamptacular. It's one of the specialty stamps, and we're going to recreate the card. Hey, Tammy. So I'm just going to share this over into my classroom and we'll get started. So there are a couple of, actually here, I'll put you down on my desk too while I'm talking. Let's just see here. Okay. Oh, it's on the opposite side. That's going to be a little weird to get used to, but that's okay. So, during the month of Stamptacular, there are a couple of stamp sets that are like specialty stamps that are just designed for Stamptacular. So there's one called Floral Wishes, Culture and Traditions, 4th of July, Home and Native Land, and True Blue. So as I'm sure you can gather by the names, they are kind of regionally based. So tomorrow I'm going to come on and I'm going to create the layout with home and native land, which you could totally swap out for any of the other country stamps. But today I thought I would create one of a card featuring, hey Connie, featuring the Floral Wishes. So for whoever hasn't seen, this is part of the advertising, and I thought the card was super pretty. So I thought, why don't we recreate it? So I'm going to create it in a slightly different color palette. So they did use Love Story in Toffee. So I'm going to use Mink, but I'm going to keep actually all of the other elements almost exactly the same because I think they kind of worked perfectly. So I think the reason that they used the Love Story is because it's such a fun, it's a fun collection because they created it in 3 different colors and they're almost exactly the same. So there's the toffee, the black, and then the mink. I keep wanting to say mint for some reason. For some reason I've just got it stuck in my head. But I'm going to use the mink color today. And like I said, do a few little fun things with this card. We'll do some coloring, add some stickles on here, and we're going to do some masking, which I haven't done in a while. So it might be fun to watch. If you catch me on the replay and you have any questions, totally feel free to ask. Okay, just 1 second for some reason. There we go. Okay, so the only things I did beforehand is I did do some stamping with intense black because I wanted it to dry before I started coloring. And then I tried to do some guesses on some sizes. So we will just take a look at that. Okay, I think I got it going everywhere I need it going. Always love when you see the thumbnail pop up in front of you. I'm going to have to fix that later because that's just funny. So, okay, here we go. So, like I said, this is the inspiration. So these are the specialty stamps. I'm going to make you bigger. There we go. Okay, so we're going to play with this Floral Wishes. I actually really like all of them and could totally see uses for all of them. Okay, so we've got an A2 size card base. I'm just going to score it. I totally lost my scoring tool on the weekend when I was live. And of course, I found it a few minutes after I finished, right? Okay, card base. Then I picked this piece from that paper pack. So this is just from the Love Story. Like I said, in their card, they used the toffee. So we're just going to switch out the color palette just a little bit. But actually, when I played with it, liked the combination of the sapphire with the mink. And did you hear? I almost said mint again. I don't know why, but okay. So we have that. Then I have a piece of mink. I'm going to use the light side. So this I cut to what I assumed, well, it is the same size as the card base. I just did some stamping to test here. I'll tell you though what size I cut this piece of paper to. So I cut it to 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. So we are going to take my mink ink pad and some of the images. So you can see they did some tone on tone stamping. Obviously that's toffee. We're going to pick mink. And I'm just going to pick some images up here. So there's the little berries. Now I haven't used all of these stamp sets yet, or these stamps yet. I did, like I said, tested a few playing around with them yesterday. So if you like to color, this is a good one. There's all sorts of different floral arrangements. There's a little cluster in the middle that's fun for embellishing. There's some great sentiments on here, right? Congratulations, thinking of you, wishes, sorry for your loss, sending love and sympathy, best, and to the happy couple. So kind of the love story kind of goes perfect with the to the happy couple, right? So I'm just going to do, like I said, some random stamping on here. I'll move my color sheet over there. And I'm not really worried about perfect stamping or anything because it's actually going to get covered up and put in the background anyway. You could pick, I love this one with the two little flower buds. So if you can see, I'm just turning my stamp as I go. So it looks a little more random. I think I need a small little flower. So I might use this one. So I have a whole, oh, this one maybe. This is a little bit smaller. So it's just kind of giving the mink cardstock a little bit of texture. So just nice and subtle in the background. So I'm going to add that to my card. And I'm just going to try and center it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Right here. Oh, that looks very pretty. That would be pretty just on its own even, right? So then I cut these two pieces a size that I think that they are. So I did the sapphire at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. It's square. And then I did my sentiment piece at 3 by 3. Okay, so let's see here. So they also have some random stamping on this white piece. So we'll do that really quickly. And they have a few little pieces of sapphire stamping here, the berries. I'll do that after. So I'm just going to use those images again. Now I think I might do second generation for this. So I'm just going to load it up, stamp it off, just so that it's nice and subtle. I'm going to flip that over because I do not like, I need to stand up. Sorry. There we go. That's better. Oh, this is very subtle. Too subtle, I think. So we're going to go a first generation. So the mink is too light. So let's just cut a new piece of paper. and I'll use full strength. There we go. Okay. Okay, and then I'll do this one. This is very pretty in real life. And I know the middle's going to get covered up anyway, so that might be where I stop with that piece. Okay, so when I was looking at this, so first I'm going to stamp my sentiment and cut it out. So when you look at this flower though, I noticed that these leaves aren't actually part of the stamp, but so they've masked them to put one behind. So one actually fits in very nicely. This one right here. But we're going to, so I just stamped the flower and added this one leaf off the end. I'll show you exactly how I did that, but I'm going to use my dry ones when we go to color. So I have my intense black, okay, and it's this flower here, and I did stamp it on a post-it note beforehand and trim it out, but I'll show you exactly how I did that. I'm going to actually flip my mat over because I don't think that's helping my stamping. So there we go. Okay, much better. Okay, so I know I want to add a leaf here and then a leaf up top, right? So it'll be the same. So this one I found super easy to just add in. Okay, so I stamp my flower and then I have the leaf and it just kind of nestles right in and it fits perfectly. But I want this one up here to look like it's behind here. So I have stamped this just on my post-it note and trimmed it out. So I'm just going to cover up my flower. And it's just right here. So now I can overlap my post-it note, and when I lift it up, the leaf is behind. So I'll just save that, throw it in with my stamp, and then I've colored some of the other images. So we're going to do the sentiment to add to the front of the card. So they did toffee, so we're going to do the little fun frame with the mint, and we'll stamp the sentiment with the sapphire just like they did. Okay, so that's the mink. Oh my goodness, literally I have the ink pad sitting open right in front of me. It's funny when something just gets stuck in your head though and you just cannot get rid of it. That's like when we get new colors, sometimes it takes me a long time to get used to them, and then sometimes I'm calling them old color names. Okay, so I have the thinking of you. So that looks very nice. So we're just gonna quickly fussy cut that. So there's no thin cuts for these, but I'm assuming they're going to be pretty easy to fussy cut. So I pulled out the markers, so we're just gonna do some coloring. So I'm just, you saw I trimmed down from that big piece of paper so that I'm not trying to manipulate my full stamping sheet when I am trying to fussy cut. Okay, so here we go. We have our card base. We have the sentiment piece, or mat, I guess, the sentiment piece. We've got this piece. Okay, so let's start with this cluster down here. So like I said, I did do some pre-stamping so that the ink would dry in time. So we are just going to color these. So the colors that they used are, I'm just putting this underneath so that if I have any bleed, it will catch it. So we're going to use True Blue for the little buds. So I just have like the lightest True Blue, and I'm going to need 2 of these, so I'm going to color them both at the same time. And they're not very big coloring space, but tons of fun to color. So like I said, I'm just using my lightest blue. And then I'm just going to add my mids in. So I'm just adding it on all the little lines. And a little bit at the bottom where it's hitting the green, or going to hit the green, because I haven't done it green yet, but just down here where I think it would be darker. Okay, so I've got 2 of those, and for the green, I'm going to use a dull green. So I'm just going to use the lightest one, and then I'm just really lightly going to touch it with my medium in all the spots where I want it just a little bit darker. So same thing, there's not a ton of room to do lots of playing with the color. Oh, this leaf too. And lots of times if there's just like a little teeny tiny space, then I'm just going to like touch it down really quickly. Okay, so I'm just gonna trim these out. I'm not gonna fussy cut them just yet because I figured this is how we're gonna keep track of our pieces. Okay, so we have 1 for down here and 1 from up there. Then we're gonna use this dry one for this big flower here. And so it is coral for the pink color. So I'm just going to use my lightest color. I go from light to dark. Some people go the opposite way. It is totally a personal preference. I find because I am sometimes a little bit heavier with color, I am better to go with my light first and then go in with my darker colors. So this one though, I'm going to go right from the light to the very darkest on the lines and my shaded petal spots. And then there is platinum stickles on the flower. So I'm going to wait though until I glue that down to add those in. So I'm going to do some of the darkest in the middle around where I'm going to lay in the platinum. And I'm just going to do over the shade lines. and in the folds of the flower. Just like that. And then I'm just going to quickly run my light back over it to kind of blend it all together. Oh, that noise does not sound good. I think it's actually time to replace my coral marker. I just want a little bit more on this one here. And I did those two colors because I wanted the more of a contrast. Okay, so I'm going to use my dull green on my leaves here. And these ones, because they're a little bit bigger, right? You have a little bit more room to play with some color if you wanted to add more of the different values of the green. And I'm just going to run back over this again to blend it all in. So that is my bottom one. Like I said, I'm going to wait till it's on the card to add my stickles. Okay, so that's for down here. We need a green single bud for down there. And I have this one, and these are two different pieces. So I'm going to color this and one leaf and do this green. So I'll do the green bud there. So this is just a single one. And then I'm going to add my mediums. And then on the very bottom here of the parts, I'm going to add a little bit of the dark. I'm not sure that we're going to see it, but that's okay. I know it's there. I'll color one leaf. And then I think we have all our parts. So we'll just do a little bit of fussy cutting. And like I said, the images are super easy to fussy cut out. So, okay, so I'm going to do one of these. Same thing with the peach. My lightest first. And I'm going to do the same combination, my light and my dark. And maybe run a little bit of the medium. I'll also add the platinum stickles. So I'm not really worrying about coloring underneath. But you could always, if you wanted, just use a marker underneath instead of, oh, I'm going to go right to the darkest. And the reason that I picked the lightest and the darkest on the coral is my mid-range, there wasn't much of a difference. So I wanted to show more of a contrast. So I picked the two extremes. And then if I needed to, I could add in the middle. Okay, so I'm just running the lightest back over, just like that. Okay, so let's see if we have all of our parts. So I have extra pieces for more cards. Because when I'm stamping with my Intense Black, because I knew I was going to color all these, I thought, well, I might as well color some other images. Also, sometimes I like to play just so I can see what's going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly fussy cut out my flowers. And we'll put everything together. So I just need to grab some glitter gems. And they go really nicely with the platinum stickles on there, I think. Okay, so this is going up here. And so is this. So because of where it's going, I'm not going to worry about cutting in between those two buds because they're kind of connected and you can't even see it. So I'm just leaving like a very small border around my florals. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not actually moving my hand. I'm moving my piece of paper in my scissors. So that is, oh, like how pretty is that combination? So awesome. Okay, so here's our leaf for the top. So for right there. And then our green little bud. How cute is that? Oh, no, I'm still live, so you're not on the replay. Or you're going to come back for the replay. That works too, Cynthia. Replay is always sitting here. Also, just so you know, after I do finish being live, I do load them up over onto my YouTube channel. So sometimes I know it is kind of hard to find things in the feed of Facebook. But just so you know, if you're ever looking for it and you can't find something, they are typically always loaded up into my YouTube channel. Okay, so we're going to do this pretty flower. And you won't even believe how much of a difference, like how much prettier it is once you add the platinum stickles in there. That one I just tested so I could see it once it was dry. Okay, almost done. I'll also tell you I have a rhubarb loaf in the oven right now. And my house smells delicious. And hopefully my timer doesn't go off while I'm still on camera, because you guys might have to wait. But I think I planned it so I had enough time. Okay, so here we go. I think we've got, oh no, one more. See, I was getting all ahead of myself. You are on live. But if you are watching the replay, feel free to let me know. And if you have any questions, I'm still happy to answer them. These flowers would be super pretty too with stickles on them for sure. I was just thinking that as I'm cutting these out. I might have to make some more. Okay, now I think we've got all our parts and pieces. So let's just move that out of the way. I will move my little fussy cutting extras out of the way. I'm going to put these down on my snap carrier sheet though, so I don't lose them. So you can see it's nice because there's three different leaves for different directions. There's tons of different buds. You could use the same masking technique and create a really pretty like cluster of them all over top of each other. Scrape that up, cover up my ink, and now we just need to put it together. So there are also, oops, I'm just going to add in these little sapphire details as we go too. So here are the berries. So on this, on here, they have one up here in the corner. And actually, I'm not going to do it on the bottom piece there because you're not going to see it. So I might just do it on the bottom corner. So I'm just making sure, I'm going to just kind of have some extra paper there so I can tap it off. I'm going to wait to see how far my cluster goes over before I add the sapphire on this side, because I think I might like move it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to add this layer flat, and like I said, this was 3 1/4, and I'm just going to center that. Okay, and I'm going to add this flat because if I want to stamp it there, then I'm going to need it flat. And maybe I'll add some of my other stuff, my flowers, with 3D foam. Okay, so this is my one with for the bottom that I masked off, right? I am going to put thin 3D foam on my sentiment here. Okay, so I'm just going kind of like that. Then I'm going to go with, oh, this there. Up here, I'm going to do this one flat. Just like that. And I'm going to do this one just peeking out. Kind of tucked underneath. Just like that. And then this one over here. So I'm going to add just a little bit of 3D foam underneath the buds so they'll kind of like just come up, add a little bit of dimension, and then tuck the stems underneath. So they'll tuck underneath here, just like that. But then because I have thin 3D foam, this will just kind of curve up a little bit like that. Okay, so for this one, I'm actually going to add thick 3D foam on here, and then I'm going to decide where I want to add those little blueberries before I stick this down. So I'm going to leave the backing on. We're going to decide, we're going to lay, like, just kind of dry fit in the pieces. And then okay, so I'm going to have this piece kind of like this. This piece is going to go right here. And then this one will tuck in right here. So I'm actually going to do those little berries just kind of peeking out right here. So I'm leaving my pieces. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm just going to move it. And I just don't want to get ink on. Okay, so now I'm going to add my biggest piece in, and then I'll tuck those other ones underneath. And then I just need to grab my glitter gems. Oh, that's so pretty. You guys, in real life, it's very, very pretty. Okay, so I can move those out of the way. And I'm going to tuck this in right here. Just like that. And then those little berries are kind of poking out the top. So it's kind of the reverse of the other card. Okay, and then I can just tuck this one in here. Okay, so that's how the mink version is turning out. So let's grab some glitter gems. So gold glitter gems. That's the one thing I didn't pull out before I started. It would actually look really, really good too with embellishing thread. You guys all know that. I love that. So I'm just going to move you down a little bit so you can see the card a little bit closer. So it's super pretty. Okay, so we have 3 glitter gems, and then I'm just going to add my platinum stickles, and it's done. So they actually only used the large size, so we will do the same. So I just have my piercing tool, and how they did theirs stamped on the bottom because they used that light toffee, and I switched it. I'm going to add my glitter gem there instead. And then there is one tucked up over here. I could have totally used silver too, but and then I would have switched out my stickles, but we'll just keep it the same. Okay, so piercing tool away. So then the last thing is stickles, and it is the platinum stickles. And I'm just going to see how I saved this to last. So if you were doing this beforehand, like how I tested my other one, right? So now I have this one that I could fussy cut out because I did this one yesterday because I kind of wanted to figure out what I was doing there and how it was going to look. So right now, this will look a little bit different than it will once it's dried. It'll flatten out and kind of just meld right into the background. So I'm just putting it over the little middle of the flower. And then now it will just dry and be super pretty. So there we go. My camera seems to be cutting off my head nonetheless. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see if you guys try the card. So like I said, it's a special stamp for Stamptacular. So it's only available during Stamptacular. So if you're interested, make sure to go check it out because it's super pretty. And like I said, I'll be coming back and doing something else with one of the other stamp sets from the specialty section. So the specialty section just has the 5 stamp sets. And then all the other stamps are listed in the promotional tab. And I did do a video which kind of walked you through, and we scrolled through some of my favorites and all of those things. So that's what I've got for you guys today. There we go. That's what I got for you guys today. I hope you're enjoying Stamptacular, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.